Right to the wire.
Am I late?
Hell yeah, you're late,
Almost.
dude. You're freaking late. What's going on, Don?
What's up?
Dude, are you at your parents' house or your house?
I'm at my apartment.
And you got I gotta get used to that loop button. I don't know if it's on or off. This time it was on. But damn, you decorate your house, bro?
Have I guess. Yeah.
See what a real man doesn't decorate their house. They only have like a stick-up board like Max, you see in the background.
Blank walls.
Yeah, blank walls
It's
and
just blank.
trophies.
Yeah.
And then like a thing for post-its in the background.
Yeah, I've never used that thing. There's never anything on
corkboard.
that thing. It's just, yeah.
What's the frames in the background? Let's go into depth on that. Like what are
For me, you're talking about?
Yeah. What does that represent?
These are like I think they're ship flags actually. For like I don't know if they were actually ever used. They were just I think they're decorations. I got them from my grandfather.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Are you a history buff or no? Because I do see you post up like memes and etc.
Yeah, I don't know. I like history. Yeah.
Cool. Max, are you into history or politics? Or none of the
Nope.
above?
Only history I'm into is bass fishing.
Bass fishing history.
Yeah. That's about it.
Quickly introduce you guys. Give like a 15-second elevator speech.
Elevator speech. What, you want me to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh yeah.
Shoot, I don't know. I like kayak fishing. I don't know. You know, elevator speech. I don't know.
What's your favorite lake and how did you get started again?
I actually started when I was younger, fishing. You know, on float. We had float tubes and fishing from the shore. When I was in middle school, fishing for trout and catfish and that kind of thing. Bass were always hard to catch at the lakes we were going to.
What was the year of your graduation, like high school graduation?
I graduated in 2004.
2004. I beat you. 2003.
Oh shoot,
Max, how about you? What's your graduation date? You're like, damn, you guys are old, or damn, you guys are young.
You guys are old.
Really?
It is. Yeah. Mine was 2014. Oh no, 2008. I'm sorry.
Shut up. Well, you're not that much younger, dude. You're like only 5 years younger, bro.
No, 2014. I'm sorry. I don't follow. After high school, I just I don't pay attention. Graduation date didn't matter to me.
Yeah. It's been almost 20 years for me.
Yeah.
20 years for Dom.
Dude, yeah, hell yeah, dude. I wasn't into fishing when I was in high school. I was into band practice.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of fell off like my freshman year. Was it like 7th and 8th grade or 6th, 7th, and 8th grade is when when I was fishing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then high school just kind of got into other things, I guess, and then
like girls.
I wish I could say that.
Oh wait, you were the shy type in high school, huh?
I don't know. Is this a fishing podcast or what is it?
It's just a general.
Yeah, I don't know. Shoot, when I got back into fishing, I was going to get another float tube.
Mm-hmm.
I think people have probably heard this story before if they listened to your podcast and I was on there.
Yeah.
But,
all right.
No, I was just going to say I saw a couple of kayak fishing channels, and that's what made me get a kayak.
Yeah, you were watching ND Kayak, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
His ASMR, he's just like, hi guys, we're fishing on the Susquehanna River.
Yeah.
And we're throwing what is it? What lures? He throws like awkward looking lures, and
I don't know if that's where he's fishing, but he's in, I think
where is he at?
North Dakota.
North Dakota?
Yeah.
I don't even know what he looks like.
The other guy throws those like Pikachu lures, and
yeah,
I think he has a couple videos like that.
those wild turtle lures and
Whopper
like
ploppers.
crazy
birds,
stuff.
ducks.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, for like
Yeah.
pike
Mhm.
and muskie.
Hey, he's super
Exactly.
ASMR. Like I give him props about his audio. His audio is super on point.
He's pretty handy. Like he I think he like engineered his own little camera hat.
His
Like
own little camera hat.
all of his little things that he puts on his kayak. It's like
Oh
he kind of machines it himself.
yeah, for sure. He just recently got on a new kayak, right? Or he's starting.
I don't know. He's always had that
Oh, okay.
Tarpon 120, I believe.
Yeah. Introduce yourself, Max.
Um, my name's Max, and I am just a guy that tries to fish whenever I can. That's really all it. Favorite lake, probably El Cap in SoCal. That's kind of where I started my bread and butter. Um,
Did you really start
yeah,
an
and
LCAP?
yeah, I started in El Cap. El
Hmm.
Cap, your infamous lake. Hodges. I fished a lot of Hodges back in the day in a float tube.
Wait,
Um,
you started your fishing adventures at the lagoon?
no.
Like,
Oh, Hodges. Hodges
oh,
referring
okay.
back to your monthly.
Oh,
Your
that one.
yeah,
Yeah. Got
yeah,
you. That makes sense.
yeah. And
That's
then
crazy.
yeah,
So you've
basically
been
every
there.
year we do.
So
Yep,
you've been
done
to Hodges.
that.
What's your PB over at Hodges?
I believe like a 7, like a 6 or a 7.
Damn.
Like it was a pre-spawner though, because every year when they reopen, because they close for the season, and then when they
Yeah.
reopen, it's basically when all the crappie fishermen are out there as well. So
Yeah.
you're either fishing for crappie or you're fishing for bass. And
Yeah.
I was the only one that was fishing for bass, basically, because
You,
everybody else was
Yeah.
fishing crappie.
you said you were
Yeah.
in a float tube or kayak?
Yeah, in a float tube.
Oh, in a float tube.
Um, yeah, that launch where I guess now was all the way out of water, I guess you could say, in the dirt.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
would launch there and I would paddle my way all the way back to the bridge. What is that? The 5 or the 805, whatever, on a float tube, and then work my way back along
Is
that
that towards the
steep
dam?
channel.
Is it towards the dam
Opposite
or are
way.
you opposite way? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
it's at now that spot you can't go all the way back. I don't think you can. It's so
Yeah.
out of the water.
Yeah. And they never went ever since they shut it down for um that dam construction.
Yeah.
You know, I've never gone back since. So
So let's get into your year of like tournament fishing because Don, you've been doing it for a while. When did you start tournament fishing in kayaks?
2019. I
2019.
started fishing
Max
out of a kayak 2017.
2017. Okay. So Max, this is pretty much your first leap into like more than 4 or 5 events, right?
first leap into it at
Into
all.
kayak. Yeah.
Rookie, yeah,
You're a
rookie
rookie,
year
right?
in general. Yeah,
What are the
yeah.
things like, and Don, you could chime in too if you have any questions for him as well. But how was your experience fishing kayak tournaments for a full season?
It's rough on the body, first and foremost, especially if you're gonna go all in and fish all the trails and basically travel up and down the coast. Well, for me, I live in the Central Valley now, and
Mm-hmm.
there's this year at least there was at least 3 trail series that we could fish,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just rough going up and down because I fished every single event that I could on any given weekend that I could. So any weekend that there was an event up here that I could make, I went and I fished it. So I think I'm at like almost 32 for the year or something like that, or
Wow.
30 for the
Damn.
year. Yeah.
Fudge.
That's exhausting.
Yeah, it
32?
was rough. Yeah.
Shoot, I did
I don't know the
maybe
exact
like
number. Don't quote me on it. It's something
break,
in the
dude.
30s though.
I remember, I think it was McClure, Max, you were talking about after we finished on the Saturday, and I was exhausted on the Saturday after that one because it was like one of the hottest days of the year that we've had up until then. So, most of us weren't used to the hot weather by that point. And then you were
Yeah.
going to go fish Maloney's like the day after or something like that.
Don Pedro. It was
Don Pedro.
nation right
Oh yeah,
after
back
that.
to
So
back.
yeah, so it was. I took the Friday off to pre-fish McClure, and then immediately after the Yakabass on McClure, then we just basically went straight over to Don Pedro, camped out, and then fished the next day with no practice.
At least it's close, I guess.
Yeah, that was one of the good events where everything was like right together, so we
Mhm.
didn't have to like travel too far or take too much time off.
Yeah.
That was nice. Yeah, it was
So
rough though. I mean,
Hot weather. Jeez. Must have been just as
yeah,
hot as at Don Pedro as well.
what was the
yeah, it was just as bad.
what was your best story for this year so far?
Was it winning at McClure, right?
No,
No.
I would say
Wait, did he?
probably
Did
the
you?
best.
He didn't win at McClure, did he?
He won the Slay Nation event, McClure.
Oh, Slay Nation. I was thinking
Yeah,
Yakabass. I was like, yeah. Who won Yakabass,
it
by
was
the way?
What do you mean? AOI?
Oh,
at McClure.
Oh, McClure?
that was what's his name? Jackson team member.
It was somebody throwing a jig all day, is what I remember.
Oh,
Yeah,
is the jig all day?
yeah.
It
It was
it
a guy
wasn't
that made a
Daigo,
thousand
was
casts with
it?
a jig. Daigo got third, I believe.
I forgot who it was. I thought it was the guy on the Jackson. He hangs out with Dark Horse too.
No.
No,
Are you thinking
that
about
doesn't ring a
Bam?
bell.
No,
I don't think it was.
Yeah, I thought it was Bam.
I
No,
think he was up there. I don't know if he won though.
yeah.
dude, we don't even remember.
Hey,
Anyways,
don't you have the computer in front of you? You can bring it up.
yeah, but I mean, it's not that important.
You need a producer.
Yeah. What was your best story?
It was probably skunking on the Delta, I would say.
Wait,
Nice.
you skunked on the
Yeah.
Delta?
What
What day was that?
technically I didn't skunk,
Uh
but
huh.
I didn't catch a limit, so I consider that skunking on the Delta
Oh,
because you got
come
to
on,
catch a limit
bro.
to start. But it's just I've never fished the Delta before. I'm talking about the first Yakabass Delta event, not
Mhm.
the West Coast Championship,
Yeah.
and it was just one of those deals where I don't fish a lot of grass. I don't have a lot of grass lakes around me here in the Central Valley.
Yeah.
Um, there is some grass at El Cap back in the day, but it's really not that like thick hydrilla mats. You can't really frog much. It's more of all just submergent vegetation. So it's completely different from the Delta where it's just hardcore grass. And
Hmm.
so it's memorable to me just because I get to learn more, even though I failed. So
Hmm.
everybody was basically throwing a Cinco or a drop shot, that first event.
Yeah.
And, I would think you just go and chuck a chatterbait all day, or, you go and throw a frog all day. But
Yeah.
it wasn't the bite. And, you know,
Well,
it just wasn't what
I
was
see.
happening.
a lot of it was
Hmm.
the area. Not that you were fishing, but that
Yeah.
you had to fish to win. To find the fish, right?
Hmm.
There's a lot of water to cover in the delta.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where I enjoyed it because I was able to find fish just based off of like map study, just like looking at the delta on Google Maps and just be like, oh, this looks pretty good. There should be fish held up here on these like points and these cuts and current breaks. And then you go and you put it together and then there's actually fish there.
Where,
Nothing
where
of
did you
size, of course,
where,
but
where did you launch from, Max? If you don't mind me asking.
uh for the Yakabass event, I launched out of
Yeah.
Paradise for both days.
Okay.
And
I
then
di-
I went towards White Slough, so
yeah.
back towards basically back east towards the city instead of out west towards the mouth of the delta.
Yeah. It was one out of Kings Island, I think, right? Which is pretty much the next launch over.
Yeah, I
I
believe it
believe
was
so.
Kings, and then they ran north. They ran
Okay.
north of Kings, Isaiah West.
Yeah, and that was kind of like my
Yeah.
strategy for that tournament too, because I had fished the South, and it was just like chocolate milk over there. And then I also fished out of Holland track, and that was with Chris. You know, thanks for Chris
Mhm.
for coming along, but too bad we couldn't catch too many fish on that one. The water was just all muddy, so I figured that I fished out of what is that called? It's where Greg launched out of. Where I forgot the name of it. Tiki Lagoon.
ENW.
No, it's
Oh,
Tiki Lagoon. And the water was not so bad. So as soon as you get into what is it? It's not Mandeville, but it's something else. God, I can't think of the name. But anyway, that section, it's all like kind of like guarded, or it's away from the current, so that you don't get a whole bunch of mud. And yeah, so then I was just throwing a Senko all day. That's what I had to do. I caught some like underspin fish, but I was just getting bit left and right on the Senko, so I just kept doing that. But you know,
yeah.
it really like it was really dependent on like where you fish to find fish there.
So that was your
Yeah.
best
'Cause,
story,
like,
Max?
It's
for
Skunking,
me, it was.
not catching a lot of fish
Yeah.
is your best story.
well,
My
wasn't that like
best story.
wasn't that one of the
Yeah.
first times you fished the Delta, Max?
That was my very first time on the Delta.
So yeah, I could see that being a good story, a fun time. You learn a lot, right?
Yeah. For me, it's all about experience. I mean, this year when I jumped into it, I wasn't trying to win nothing, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
My goal was just to learn as much, like seasonal patterns, certain patterns that dominate throughout a day, or certain areas where guys
Yeah.
would key in on something. Because, fortunately for the kayak community, a lot of guys just tell you what's going on, how they caught them, where they caught them,
Yeah.
whether it's on a hard spot or just dead sticking,
Yeah.
like perfect example is like John Myers. When John Myers came to and fished Eastman for our Central Valley Kayak League, and Damien showed up late, which he still won anyways, because Damien doing Damien things.
Mm-hmm.
But when you talk to them, they're like, "Oh yeah, we were fishing hard spots," even though it didn't really matter what they were doing in terms of like what lure exactly. It was more of keying in on a thing, and that was what my goal fishing this year was. It wasn't to win, it was just to learn kind of like where the bass like to set up even further, I guess you could say, because we had an
Mm-hmm.
abnormal heavy rain year. California's not supposed to get this much rain, you
Yeah.
know
Well,
so
it is. We used to a long time ago. I would say like in the early 2000s we used to get a lot of rain, and it used to be normal for the reservoirs to be full, but not anymore.
mhm.
So your best story is skunking because you learned the most, you would say, out of that,
That's
instead of
exactly it.
like, so you don't take pleasure in winning then, or you
No,
do?
no, I don't.
Okay.
He
Like,
has
All
to.
right.
He has to a little bit. I would imagine a little bit. You know what I
Do you
mean?
feel
Because
like you feel like more accomplished when you have them dialed in at all? Do you like when you win because you
not really,
figured them out?
not really so much, because it's kind of when you're so dialed in, it
Yeah.
kind of takes away from the mystery of figuring something else out. So you're
Yeah. Yeah.
just when you're so dialed in, you're like, let's go to this point, and I know they're gonna eat a jig on this point, and let's just drag that jig.
Yeah.
Like, prime example would be the first event, the McClure first event. I got on that A rig bite, but it wasn't until like way later when I reviewed the footage and I kind of like really thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
They were eating a dead stick A rig. It
Yeah.
wasn't because I was throwing it into the wind, or it wasn't because I was, slow reeling it or anything. They were just,
Mm-hmm.
all I had to do was throw it out there and let it sit if I really thought about it, because
Mm-hmm.
they were eating it on the bottom at the end of my cast.
that was
Mm-hmm.
Dom's.
So,
What was it? Folsom pattern. Dead stick eight.
Yeah. Because
yeah.
they'll track it down, and then you just, you're not paying attention. They'll just eat it while it's just there.
Yeah.
It's
So,
It's a good bait. It's a good bait, definitely.
Dead
Like,
stick A-rig.
yeah, you can either dead stick or drag it like a jig on the bottom. But I mean, I don't recommend doing that unless you have, live scope.
A couple A-rigs in your boat.
Yeah, you have to have a minimum like 2 or 3 A rigs in the boat. It gets annoying A rig fishing. You know what I mean? Like it's a true staple to a kayaker's arsenal, but man, it just gets messy, and especially if you have a lighter A rig set up and then a heavy one set up, like it just gets messy. I stopped throwing them, but when winter comes by again, I'll probably start again.
I always lose them.
Yeah, but you got active target now. You shouldn't lose it anymore.
I don't know. Still find a way to do that.
Wait, so Max, did you hook it up yet? You just got forward facing sonar.
It's brand new in the box.
How long have you
Still
had
I
it?
own it,
You've
but
had
it's in the box.
You've had it for a couple months, right
Yeah.
now, Max?
Yeah, I've had it
Yeah.
for picked it from Romel maybe like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago.
You're not in a hurry
I
to set it up?
No, not until the season's
LV34
over.
or Lawrence.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, if you want
LV34.
me to test it out for you, the LV34, when Clear Lake comes, feel free to let me, use it. I don't mind at all.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the Garmin one. Is that one better than yours, Dom?
Yeah, so it's the newer one. I think target separation is easier on the newer LV34, and you could see your lure further out. You could see it. I mean, I could see my lure about 100 feet out, but it gets hairy. You could still see the splash 100 feet out, but with the LV34, once you get it all rigged up, it's pretty damn clear where your lure is. But, there's a lot of older gentlemen that are losing their vision, not like completely, but it's just getting a little bit hairier on their eyes. And the LV32, I don't recommend for people that are that have bad eyes, bad vision.
I would imagine your screen size has a lot to do with that too, right?
Yeah, but there's a lot of people on the old UHD 9-inch screens, and they're just doing just fine. Like, I mean, I don't even have to mention his name, but he's a big live scoper. He won over 5 events this year and back to back, and he's still on the 9-inch graph.
So I think you have to mention his name.
Some guy in SoCal, man. Guy in SoCal. But it just goes to show you that screen size doesn't matter as much. I know Greg Ellingson has a 12-inch graph that has like a UHD plug you could plug and watch your football games and etc. Lawrence unit, and it's great and all, but it's not the deciding factor or how live scope performs and stuff. You can still get away with.
So what's the plan, Max? What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
are you gonna hook it up, or what's the plan?
I don't know, because for me the biggest thing is I kind of just want to fish with what I know, because the season's not for me yet. Technically, I still have the TLCs, and then the season's over. But Berryessa, I kind of want to get it hooked up and rigged up for Berryessa, just because I know how much those fish want to move around since like last year.
Well, you know what? Sorry to interrupt you, but for me, using my active target, it's been kind of I don't feel productive using active target yet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I would try to figure it out. It's nice to have it on your kayak when you're fishing that Berryessa event, I imagine. But that's what I'm still trying to figure out, how to be productive using it. So that's one tip.
That's my biggest fear.
Yeah. Because I'm used to just using 2D or down scan or side scan or whatever. But
that's my biggest fear. So that's why I'm just letting it sit there, because I don't want to. I want to play with it on the off season. That's the biggest thing.
I'm not good, and I don't know if that's the difference between active target and live scope. Is finding the lure and getting fish to follow it. I've only done it a couple times, and I just need more practice at it, I think. But like I feel like you know you see people do it and it's they kind of make it look easy. Like even watching Dom's videos, right? Kind of make
Yeah.
it they make it he makes it look easy.
Hmm.
And
I
there's
don't
still
know. I don't know if it's live scope, or I don't know if it's the live scope or the water that I fish. And I can't say I completely figured it out with live scope either. Because there's only probably two lakes. No, there's three lakes. There's three lakes. There's San Vicente, there's the lagoon, and there's Lower Otay over near San Diego, or in San Diego. And those are the only lakes that was able to like really hone into live scope using
you,
it
you,
100% of the time.
you know what I imagine it's like learning a new technique. I'd imagine, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you probably you know you need a day where it works for you, and then you get
Mhm.
confident using it, and then after that you keep building up your confidence, just like any
Yeah.
like other technique. Like if you're you know jerk baiting all the time, you'll probably throw one or two casts or whatever and not get bit, and then you're never a jerk bait fisherman. But then it takes one
Yeah.
day where you catch them, and then you know maybe after that you go buy a jerk bait rod or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. You
Yeah.
know, but the hardest difficulties with live scope for me is when I see them, I know where they are, but they just won't bite anything.
Yeah,
You know, like that's the difficult part. Or the second difficulty I have to face is when you're traveling to a different lake, for instance, Clear Lake, you get so many species over at Clear Lake or Kentucky Lake where there's carp, catfish, crappie, and etc. bait fish, that sometimes it's very hard to kind of decipher whether what fish it is.
yeah, that's
You
true.
know what I mean? And it's
Mhm.
just clouded with like life underwater. So
Yeah,
that's one of the other difficulties.
like when we went to McClure, it was like a carp spawn going on. So it's
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
it was just useless because you see all this
Yeah.
carp and
Yeah.
you couldn't tell which ones were bass and which I couldn't. So
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I could think of is if I were throwing my jerkbait and I was just keying on my jerkbait to see if they were coming out of those rocky
yeah,
bluff walls. I think that's the only time that would. Actually, no, there was a time during practice where I just sat on a point in like 2 feet of water, and I pointed it on a drop off, and I saw like 6 or 8 inch spotted bass chase after my jerkbait. But
mm,
and they would come out of the rocks, but I didn't see a lot of suspending bass over at McClure. It seems like they're all hugged on bottoms, those spotted bass. They weren't doing like what other people are talking about, like out in the middle, just congregating bait and
sh-
etc.
uh,
I
th-
haven't found that yet.
I saw I was you know fishing the bank pretty much the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, doing like fishing top water and
Yeah.
fishing points with jigs and stuff like that. But there was one time near those houseboats. I'm not really familiar
Hmm.
with McClure too much,
Yeah.
but near those houseboats, there was like a couple of fish busting in like 80 foot of water by the time I got out there, and I was you know graphing and checking the depth.
Hmm.
But I threw a top water and it hit it, and I don't know how it missed it,
Oh, it
but
hit it?
yeah, and it was like
Mhm.
it was probably like a 15, 16 inch fish, which is decent over at McClure for a kayak
Yeah.
tournament.
I haven't been
Yeah.
able to replicate it, like those offshore suspending bass, like out in
But
80 feet. I haven't been able to do it other lakes,
you know what? I
you know?
saw that fish and I threw it out there,
Yeah.
and it hit it, but that was it. You know what I mean? Like after
Yeah.
that, they're gone. So it's just like one of those
Yeah.
fluke
Mhm.
chances. You get to the right place, right time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Max,
Yeah. Because
so go ahead. What were you about to say?
oh, I was just saying at the McClure, I would the ones that I did target in practice and the ones that I was targeting during tournament day, they were all
Mhm.
wolf packs. So they were all suspending bass that was cruising in and out. Uh, the
That's
thing
right.
that I found,
You were on
yeah,
glide
specifically,
bait, right?
glide bait and a top water bite.
Yeah.
So both days I was throwing a glide bait and just a top water all day long. But essentially, what I found for my pattern specifically was they were on the creek mouths. So
Mm.
they weren't all the way really in the backs, or they weren't really. There was fish on your isolated like high spots and stuff, but the most active ones for me were in the creek mouths. So you could find them schooled up and like cruising up and down the shoreline in wolf packs, like right at the creek mouths. So
All
that was
right,
just
guys.
me.
It looks like Matthew Brand wants to hop on too.
Oh, wow.
Miscommunication,
Sure.
but let's bring him on. Might as well. Let me see if
Party
I can just
now.
So they could tell us how to fish
him.
clearly.
Yeah.
I know. Let's bring it on about Clear Lake. Let's give him a hard time about how he made the freaking he won at the Delta to get birth into the TOC Slay Nation. But let me see if I can go ahead and message him the link. What I wanted to go into next, Max, is what do you think about forward-facing sonar? Everybody has it on their podcast. It's the hottest topic right now of whether to ban it, which is like the worst word to use, or to kind of minimalize it to half of the tournaments. Do you want to see something like that, or you don't mind having live scope around?
I don't think it matters, to be honest. I haven't used it yet. Well, I lied. I have used it on one of my buddy's boat, um, twice or three times now. But it doesn't really matter, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, you still got to find the fish and you still got to catch the fish.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, it'll help you be more productive, maybe. You
Yeah.
know, have more accurate casts. Hey, Matthew.
What's going on, Max?
What's up, Matthew?
What's up, Don?
Damn,
Nothing
what
much.
up?
What's
I don't
going
think
on?
live scope matters, though.
So Max, so you're saying live scope don't matter? You
No.
jumped in at the right time, man.
I heard that.
Okay, what's your
I don't
take,
think
Don?
it matters.
For
What's your
me,
take? Yeah,
Uh,
you want it gone, or do you want it?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's boring to watch those guys on the boats in the tournaments fish a live scope tournament. I don't know.
I'm gonna get a lot of heat for this, but I think some of the guys that are utilizing live scope or that are fishing the Elite Series, I think they earn their way in, but that doesn't necessarily mean like they're great on camera. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if there are like the Michael Iconellis or the Kevin Van Dams that are showing up on the Elite Series. You know what I mean? I like watching Matty Wong because he has personality. And you can never expect what he's gonna do at the weigh-in.
Is that because of live scope you're saying, or
no? I'm saying people blame
like
it's
it
not
being boring?
entertaining.
Yeah.
On live, but I don't necessarily think it's just because of forward-facing sonar.
Well, no, what I'm saying is it's boring to watch like a live scope tournament where it's being won on live scope and there's like the top 5 are all looking down at their live scope and whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's kind of boring to watch compared to like, I don't know, some guy up creek somewhere catching him on a square bill.
Or a frog or something like that. Like Dean Rojas or Takahiro Mori catching it on a square bill last 10 minutes of the tournament or something like that.
Yeah.
But like to my point, I'm saying like those guys, they it's like Takahiro Mori is like so well known for that last 5 or 10 minutes. I think even if it was with live scope and he was just acting the same way and how psyched about how he caught a fish in the last minute of the tournament or something like that to seal the deal, and the way his personality is, I feel like that alone will kind of entertain the viewers themselves, whether or not if it's on live scope or not.
I agree.
His true excitement shines through the camera.
I agree.
You know what I mean? But I don't know. What do you think, Matt? Mr. Live Scooper.
I love my live scope. So yeah, I mean, I've watched all the drama lately and all the podcasts. Did y'all see the Zal Dangerous or the Bilge podcast with Zaldane and Josh Jones?
Yeah.
So Josh said something on there that made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I'd never want to ban live scope. I don't even want to even think about banning live scope. It is just another tool. Having live scope in itself doesn't make you a great fisherman. I mean, we see guys even in the kayak world who have live scope and they're not proficient with it, and they don't have the success that dreamt up just because you got it and you can see them, you can catch them. That is not how it works, obviously. But Josh said something. He said, he said today in the elites, that level, you have guys who nobody had ever heard of before, and they come in, and their sole claim to fame or their sole reason for fame is the fact that they had forward-facing sonar, and they can smash on it. And they talked about having the high school angler, the college angler, the younger generation who grew up on video games and who are good with the technology, and they are dominating. It doesn't matter if it's up north on the deep lakes or like we have out here in the big reservoirs, or if it's shallow, because they used them on bedfish at Santee Cooper this year. Is that a true testament of who is the best angler on the elites? Not necessarily. It's just who's the best with the technology. So Josh said something about, you have 8 events in the Bass Elites, maybe do 4 with forward-facing sonar and have 4 where you don't have it. That way it takes a more well-rounded angler to rise to the top of the Angler of the Year charts or whatever. And one good example was not Takahiro, but what's the other guy from Japan that just showed up in the elites?
Kyu.
Yep. He's got 5 forward-facing sonar transducers on his boat.
Yeah.
Oh,
He won. Let's see. He won an event. I don't remember if it was Murray, but he won one, and he's like in the top 10 for Angler of the Year. He's never even been to the U.S. until now. His sole ability is he is so good with that forward-facing sonar that you get to a lake and you just ride around and catch what's on the screen. And I agree, that's not a true testament of the best well-rounded angler, but is that really what the elites is about? I mean, I made a comment. I don't remember whose page it was.
That's a good argument.
It might have been Daniel Perry that commented on Facebook the other day, and we were talking about it. And I said, at the end of the day, competitive fishing used to be about the angler versus the rest of the field. And in that aspect, if everybody has the same ability, and on the elites, pretty much everybody has forward-facing sonar. Mm-hmm. It's still the best. Who's the best with it? Who's the best on that day out of that group of anglers?
Yeah. To that argument, that's pretty much correct. You know what I mean?
I mean,
everybody does have it. I'm pretty sure 99% people have it.
But I mean, even whether it's live face or forward-facing sonar or anything else, the angler that is best with the tools they have is going to win. If you take the top 15 out of the Angler of the Year stats right now for Yakka bass and don't let them fish the TOC, somebody else is going to win it because they are the best that day out of that group of anglers with the tools that they have.
Yeah.
So I could see either argument.
Yeah.
Do I want it banned? Absolutely not.
You see Drew Gregory, and he doesn't have live scope rig to his kayak, and he won so many Bassmaster events, Open
Series. Look at Greg. Greg doesn't have Blanchard. He doesn't have forward-facing sonar, and he's number 1 in Angler of the Year right now.
Exactly. So,
well, Pua. Yeah, Pua.
Pua doesn't have it.
Yeah. But huge but. So these guys that don't have forward-facing sonar that are up in the standings right now for AOI and Yakka Bass, they all bought live scope except for Greg Blanchard. I don't know what he's doing. I see Max with live scope in the background. I see Pua. He says he just bought the LV34 and he's going to a 10-inch graph as well. So,
well, Pua's not fishing tournaments next year though, right? So
he says that he will. He's fishing I think he's going to go take a step up maybe, or maybe invest in a bass boat, but who knows? But what are those anglers gonna do by 2024 when they do have that tool? Like, is Max gonna step up, or is he gonna take a step back because he has live scope? And then Pua too, is he gonna take a step up, or is he gonna take a step back? You just never know.
I think there's a learning period, and
definitely.
It just depends on how, I guess, good you are with the technology and how fast you learn, right?
Well, and the other thing is knowing when to not use it.
Correct. Yeah, that's my, where I haven't I haven't really felt confident using it. So like I feel like I'm more efficient not using it at this point. So that's why I don't really use it a whole lot. I still have it. I could say the last tournament I fished, the food allergy tournament, was like the only time I actually felt like it helped me. So
yeah,
I didn't use it in the Chris Laird on the Delta.
yeah,
I
mean,
took second there. I mean, it's just not a fishery that it works well.
correct. Yeah, I would say is that more at the Delta, or is that?
Well, yeah, no. So I use it religiously on Clear Lake, even in the shallow water.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
I just went to Clear Lake Friday and stuck 25 pounds in the bass boat, and I don't have it on the bass boat.
Nice.
But I already
you do know that, but you knew where the fish are.
Exactly.
You found them on your kayak with a live scope, and then you went over there with your bass boat and basically fished it blind, right?
Well, and you can make that argument with Pua and Greg too. So we're talking about local guys fishing on local bodies of water that a lot of us have history on.
Yeah.
That probably makes a difference versus an elite angler who's going to Lake Tim Killer at a time of year they've never been there before and using a live scope to quicken that learning curve and find those schools of fish without having to really run bank and burn days practicing trying to find fish. It definitely cuts down on that.
I think one of the big advantages is seeing how your fish react to the lure, right?
Or I use it. So let's say Clear Lake. Clear Lake is not really a live scope lake. I mean, we do have some deep offshore fish where it does come into play.
Yeah.
In the sandbagger event, I used it. I fished mostly shallow, and I didn't use it to see fish that I was trying to catch. I used it to spot targets like rock piles where I saw it out in front of me at a cast length out in front of me and make that cast before I got to it versus going over a rock pile that comes up within 4 feet of the surface where I know I'm going to spook those fish once I go over them.
Do you ever use the perspective mode? Or
I do not. I have when Chris Harris and I went to Possum Kingdom, he's got Lowrance and he runs his in perspective mode all the time. Okay. And we chased stripers one day just for fun on the way in, and sat side by side where we could see each other's screen because he swears by that perspective mode. He does not do the forward mode.
Wow.
And I had mine on forward, and he learned how to use his on perspective mode and loves it, and that's his preference. I've never used perspective mode, and I'm looking at his screen going, man, I don't know what you're looking at. Like I can see it. I can see the fish moving, but I mean, it's not like with mine on forward, I see a fish or a rock pile and I look at the scale and I say, okay, that rock pile's 45 feet out in front of me at this angle where I've got the transducer pointed and I can make the cast to match that. On perspective mode, you're looking at the water column in a different way and you could see fish this way across the screen. You can't tell how deep they are.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can't place a bait.
So what do you guys think if like a tournament director decided to ban forward-facing sonar for like half
I wouldn't
the
care. If it's just kayak fishing, whatever.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care too much, but honestly, I don't think they should.
Yeah.
Are
you guys Max? All like, yeah, what do you guys think, Max?
I don't think it matters. They could have it. They could not have it. Like I said before, you still got to find the fish and catch them. You could go around and chase a single isolated fish all day. And what happens if you only catch that one fish? You might win big fish if you catch that one, 10 or 13 pounder or whatever that's out there in the middle of nowhere. But it doesn't help you win if you can't catch your limit anyways.
I think another dimension is like for boats, they have the option to run and gun. With kayaks, it's like you're still kind of stuck to the area.
You're still stuck to like 3 to 6 miles an hour.
If there's nothing to live scope in your area, then what's the point?
Yeah.
Well, and I think it just depends on the fishery. If I said, if you put me on Clear Lake or the Delta and said I couldn't use live scope, I'd be like, okay, what?
Yeah.
If you put me on New Maloney's in the middle of the summer and told me I can't use live scope, am I going to catch fish? Sure. The guys who are winning are going to catch fish regardless. But I'm going to be like, man, really? I can't use my live scope? I will tell you, in the Bass Boat Friday, when we got out there, I had my buddy Travis with me, and I was like, dude, I feel like I'm blind. Like, I feel like I'm handicapped right now. Because I kept looking, I looked down for that screen. I'm like, because I would pull up on an area, and I'd be like, okay, so there's a rock pile right out here. And I would look down, I'm like, oh, can't see it. So, I swapped my hummingbirds back and forth from the Bass Boat to the kayak. So I still had, like, my trails from the sandbagger tournament. So, like, I'm following my trails. I'm like, I know it's up here, and it should be about on this line. But man, I felt because I've gotten so used to using it over the last 2 years, I really felt like, wow, it's harder.
Yeah,
Just
it's hard,
because I use it
hard
for looking
not,
at cover,
yeah.
not fish,
It's pretty hard to not have it once you've had it on your
Yep.
kayak.
Now, I took it with me Saturday on the Delta for that Slay Nation tournament, thinking, hey, these fish are up in grass and I'll be able to see them moving around the grass. And it didn't. The Delta is just a different place. I couldn't look in the grass like I can on Clear Lake. It just, I don't know
It's
why I
not
couldn't
that
pick out
sparse,
fish.
maybe.
Nah.
It
Yeah,
needs to
it
be
was-
sparse, The Delta might be a little bit too thick to see it past in
Yeah.
that area.
And it could be the hydrilla versus whatever that stringy grass is in Clear Lake, too.
Exactly. So let's move on to, why do you guys think California anglers won't participate in $300 plus buy-in tournaments?
Y'all better answer this one.
Why aren't we getting the numbers that we should be getting?
I don't know. I'd say like a good majority of the people that fish like trails like Yakabass, or the trails that have a cheaper buy-in or whatever. Most of the people are entry level fishermen. I mean, not knocking them, but it's like I don't think they're prepared to pay a $300 buy-in, and that's just kind of like the fun of it, right?
Yeah.
For
Max?
me, I don't have an issue. I mean, I fished everything I could this year, so
Max.
I mean, realistically, if you think about it, I don't have an issue because I fished just about everything I could. I bought into just about everything I could buy into. I don't have an issue with it, but that's just me, though. I mean, for other guys, it may be. I think the biggest thing, honestly, is it's a club feel still. So it's kind of like, I don't want to pay $300 to go fish a club derby, I guess you could say. As in, if we were to have kind of like a Bassmasters Elite Kayak Series out here on the West, then it might be more of like, that's like an upper echelon, I guess you could say. Like a more serious, I guess you could say. Not that Yakabass and all that's not serious. It's just a more devout group of anglers, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of like the KPT or, Wild West, I guess.
What's funny about that, though, is you'll fish against the guys at Yakabass, and it'll be your I don't know, was it $75 or $65 entry or whatever it is?
Mm-hmm.
But then you'll go fish the $300 tournament, and you're fishing against the same people. So like, I don't know. It's just less.
But you're only, you're only fishing like what, maybe 40 people.
Yeah, I don't know.
It feels smaller, definitely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's a couple issues. I can tell you, the national trails, Bass, Hobie, whatever, they want 100 angler minimum to consider the event worthwhile. We don't have that many anglers that are, I want to say hardcore enough, because I mean, we got guys that travel and fish, but we don't have guys that are into it to the point where they feel like they can be competitive with a 100 angler field of all big sticks, for not having a better way to put it. So you talk about up here, we had Wild West Bass Trail and California Bass Nation, and they got 30 anglers per event at most.
We had
KPT.
Wild West. I think it was like 70 something was the most. One of the Don Pedro tournament I fished, when it was like the first year for Wild West, I think it was like 70.
And it was probably like the first tournament, or the first, one of the first tournaments.
It was like second. Yeah, this is like second, I believe.
So that had that new trail excitement.
Yeah,
70 anglers come out, and then
definitely
once it evened out at the end of the year, you started tracking lower and lower numbers. Same thing with
what
KPT.
was the buy-in too?
I think that was nearly $100, if not a little
100.
I think it was.
And that's a mid-level tournament.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say that's a mid-level tournament. That's still a fairly basic entry fee tournament.
Yeah. Totally.
Look at Yakabass. I've talked to James about it before, and I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but he said even Yakabass, we have $65 to buy in, $40 high roller pod, $100 yak pot, whatever. He said the bulk of the anglers only pay that basic entry fee, which is why we have a tournament with 115 anglers that fish it, and first place pays out $1,700. That's insane.
Yeah.
You have to have the buy-in. And then on top of that, the West Coast being Arizona, New Mexico, California, Nevada, Idaho, Utah, Washington, Oregon. I mean, that's 7 states. But even out of those 7 states, we don't have enough anglers that are willing to travel like what they have back east, where you have 25 states coming together at a single event because they all travel to them. And then we're so far west, the guys back east don't want to travel to make up that deficit, so we won't hit 100 anglers.
Do you think it's because California is too expensive? There's not enough serious anglers, or like we just don't want a pro series here?
Every time Bass or Hobie releases a schedule, you can go on any page you want, whether it's KBN, Bass Kayak and Beers, whatever, and people are crying because there's no West Coast tournaments.
Yeah, it's true.
But consistently, every time Hobie or whoever has come out here to hold a big event, they get 40 anglers, 50 anglers.
Yeah, but I would say the last time that happened, the time of the event was kind of, in my opinion, the wrong time to have it. I don't know. It was you had, what was it, Hobie first, and then the whole state was like lit on fire by a huge thunderstorm, and then you had Yakabass, which is the biggest Yakabass tournament of the year. This was before they had the West Coast Championship, though. And then the next weekend you had the BASS. So for what we were just talking about, most of these guys are weekend fishermen or whatever you want to say. That's a lot of commitment to do those 3 big events. And that was the last time they came out here. So there was some other circumstances that led to, I think, a low entry or whatever.
So, but from a business standpoint, so was it Hobie that had low entry? From a business standpoint, the reasoning behind it, it doesn't matter. If they don't make that money and that investment, then they foul bad taste in their mouth, don't want to come back.
What I'm saying is maybe give it one more shot.
I agree. I thought we were going to get one this year. For whatever reason, it didn't pan out, but I thought we were going to have one this year.
If we had one at Bassmaster Open event over here, I think people would show up. It's just you got to get the right people to promote it.
Because the CA Bass Nation event at Clear Lake, I think that was over $100 to enter, right? I don't know. Did you fish that one, Matthew?
I've never fished a California Bass Nation.
Okay,
but again, we're talking more of like 200 plus,
$300.
Yeah,
Hobie BASS is going to be $300 basically.
I mean, the only thing that came close to it is when ABA combined with KBF to include it to maybe, I think it was the max buy-in was like $400 or $500 for both of them.
Yeah. And that's the other issue is you can't schedule those big tournaments on top of a local event.
Yeah.
Yakabass tried it forever with KBF. They would schedule a KBF and a Yakabass on the same day because of the permits. It makes the permitting easier. Right. And you have all the loyal Yakabass crew. So you have 115 anglers that show up to fish Yakabass. And the KBF side, they'd have 22 anglers because it makes the entry that much more. So it's got to be a standalone event. It can't conflict. I think another issue we have, especially in Northern California, is we have too many trails at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We have Slay Nation, Yakabass. We're going to have BAM this year. I don't know what's going on with California Bass Nation this year.
How much is entry fee for BAM?
I believe BAM was
25, 150.
150.
Yeah, so it's borderline mid-level.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said, and then I also heard rumor, or if it's out there already, if it's fact, that Bass Nation's only having one event that will qualify you for the state championship or for the championship. That's what I'm hearing.
I heard that rumor as well. I can neither confirm or deny. I just heard that rumor. So
look at Matt. Look at Matt smiling. You know something, dude.
I don't know.
Matt knows. He just doesn't want to spill the beans right now.
Just like I said, I would love to see something come back out here. I just don't know that anybody's going to bite the bullet and send it.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to Steve Owens. It doesn't seem like they're still rebuilding Bassmaster Kayak Series out in that area, and they don't look. In the next 2 years, they don't look to hold an event out in California. So,
well, look at the other side of that. So they have 5 events this year, and you have to fish 4 for Angler of the Year. So if they come out here and if they do one event out here, what's the benefit of that? Nobody's coming from back east to fish it. I mean, I know Jordan Marshall said something the other day. He was planning on coming to fish the Hobie event on the Delta. So you're going to have the one-offs. We had Derek Brundle came out and fished a tournament out here, flew out.
Yeah.
So I mean, those happen, but not enough people to make it worthwhile for that group to hold a tournament here, because it kind of screws up the Angler of the Year thing.
Yeah. So what you're saying is the country's too big for kayak fishermen.
The country's too big for bass fishermen, because that's why BASS doesn't come back to the West Coast either.
Yeah.
The anglers complained about having to drive all the way out here for the Delta and the Clear Lake events and BASS, and so BASS quit coming.
Yeah.
And if you look at the boat tournaments, I don't know how much y'all pay attention to it, but I know like FLW, they keep swapping tournament directors around trying to get more and more buy-in. But even then, they have trouble getting a good number of anglers to fish the FLW events out here.
Okay, well, Matt, what do you know about CA Bass Nation having permits for Orville and Clear Lake for 2024?
Is that something you can look up? Is that something on the...
Yeah, you can go on to the Department of Fish and Wildlife's website and look up the fishing permits and see who's got what for what lakes and what days.
Now, I wonder if Max is saying, is it CA Bass Nation kayak series permits for Orville and Clear Lake, or is it just for the bass boaters? So,
don't know.
Matt knows something. He's not sure.
James just hit me up. The Yakabass Gambler Series is going to be a $250 entry fee, so that'll give us a higher entry fee, higher payout series for this coming year. So that's a step in the right direction for getting bigger
option events. You said that's kind of like the yak pot.
Gambler is going to be completely separate series with a higher entry fee and higher payouts. It's $250 flat to go in.
And those are different weekends and different lakes, right?
It is different weekends and different lakes in the regular Yakabass Trail. So the one good thing about that I see moving forward is if the Gambler Series shows up and people come out and fish it, showing California anglers are willing to pay $250 to go fish this, and we get the buy-in, that will, to me, that's a step in the right direction to show Hobie and Bass, hey, we have anglers willing to show up. There's this many, can we get an event now?
I think if they took out the checkout, if they actually just used the checkout button, if James Snyder took that rule out where we had to go sign a checkout sheet, if he took that shit out, and what was the other rule? There was another rule.
Man, if people would read the rules.
If he states where the awards exactly is going to be, like the coordinates and everything, then I'll fish another event. But until those things change, I'm not going to fish.
Well, I think he did change it. I think they did put it.
No, they changed it, but they change it. It's in limbo. Like they change it whenever they want to change it. You know what I mean? They don't enforce the same rules every single time.
If we have an open launch, everybody has to come and sign in the sheets. If we have a single point launch, they don't do the sign-in sheets.
We were both at Tulloch.
I agree.
We were both at Tulloch.
It wasn't Tulloch.
No, it was. We both saw people that made in the top 10 come late for the checkout.
Oh,
they were still motoring over to the dock. They're supposed to touch the dock at a certain time, but they didn't. It was well past that time. And they came from a section of the lake, and the rules weren't enforced.
I think Yakabass does 50 yards, but that's here or there from the launch.
Yeah, but you're the one who talked about it.
Well, at Tulloch, I got a call from the tournament director to go pull another kayaker in who had problems.
And I saw Matthew going out, so I can vouch for that.
Yeah. Because that's what I said when I got that call. I was like, "Whoa!" Now I said, That's gonna make me late because I was turning the corner into the marina with like 5 minutes to go.
Yeah,
and I was like, "I'll be late," and James gave the okay because that was an angler that had broke down and needed help.
But you're still on time, weren't you?
I was. I still made it back,
and there were still anglers that were pedaling back that didn't make it in time, but they weren't disqualified.
Yep.
So it's like, if you're going to have rules, enforce them the same way every single event.
Well, I can say
all that I asked for
the Delta, what was it? Not the West Coast Championship, but the first Delta event, the 2-day event.
Yeah.
I didn't go sign out sheet the second day. And that was because I knew I was, I didn't need the points or whatever.
Yeah.
And I still got points. So,
Yeah, so it's like some people got their points during the events without signing the checkout sheet. Some events they decided to DQ these guys. So I was just wondering, like, is it fair to enforce it whenever you feel like to enforce it?
You also have James playing a one-man band on Yak
Yeah.
Bass, so he's trying to do the awards and get the awards kicked
Yeah,
off
I
on
know.
time, whereas you don't have anybody with eyes on at the ramp. There's that thing too. So
yeah, so maybe
I'm not too bitter about
delegating. Maybe delegating would be something. Like, the thing is, with some tournament directors, it's hard for them to ask for help.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes you have to set ego apart and just delegate a job, a simple task to one of the anglers. For instance, like you, Matthew, like Matt, like you are reputable, and if someone asks you, if a tournament director asks you a simple task is like, hey, can you just make sure all the anglers are in on time, and then just point out to me like if there was anybody that was tardy or something like that, I'm pretty sure you would be more than happy to do the job.
Yeah.
To make it a fair play game.
If you guys know James, it's all I can do to help him break down the Yakabas tent. He wants to do it himself, and that's just.
I do
James.
see you out. Yeah, I know. I do see you out there trying to help out as much as you can.
I stayed after the sandbagger tournament. I was
Yeah.
about to collapse. I was so tired, but I stayed and helped James pack up. Got everything in the truck.
I think that's one of the things with James Snyder is that maybe he likes doing the things himself. Where
I think that's the way he started it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So initially it was myself, James, Brian Butterball, and Justin Martin Del Campo. We were the four that started Yakabas. And Brian Butterball got out of kayaks and went to boats, and he left. Justin doesn't fish kayak at all anymore. I think he fishes bass boat here and there. And then I left because I moved away. So it kind of left James on his own. And over the years, he's had Holly and Adam Baumbach that helped him out here and there. Alden does our points for us. Bill does our judging. Josh does some stuff with getting sponsors. Amanda makes the checks. She does design the checks and stuff. So, he has people to help.
Yeah.
But it's just volunteer type stuff. James is Yakabas these days.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Well, he says it's gone next year, so
the sign out sheet
there. Oh, we got to ask him specifically. James, what's gone next year? You got to tell us specifically.
I think he's talking about the sign out sheet.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, and the reasoning behind that, the sign out sheet, was because we had people that don't come to awards.
Yeah.
And that's pretty crappy. If you go out, I get it. You go out and you have a bad day on the water, you skunk or whatever,
but what's also
it's hot and tiring, and you don't want to be there. But
what's also crappy is people signing the sign out sheet and then leaving. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the whole point is to be there to cheer everybody on. And
so it's not a very effective deal if people are signing the sheet and they're just like, okay, I finished 15th. I'm out after I do the sign out sheet. Like, I'm gone.
But what's the fix? That's a tough one. How do you stop people that you have no authority over and make them stay at the awards? People just have to want to stay. Yeah, exactly. It's about sportsmanship.
Yeah. Stop being a sore loser.
Yeah.
The one tournament I left a tournament early this year. I don't remember which one it was. And it was the one where I would have won the Dakota Lithium thing. Yeah, it was. It was Maloney's. Mm-hmm. I didn't have a bad day. I had dogs that I had boarded in a kennel, and I had to get back to pick the dogs up. And so I sucked it up and told James, I was like, hey, man, I've got to go. And he's like, I got you. And then I would have won the thing. Was it $300 from Dakota Lithium if I'd have stayed because they drew my name? Yeah. It happens, Some people have legit reasons to leave, but you try and get max participation at the awards.
I don't know how to fix that. It is a club level event, though. You know what I mean? It's like,
it happens at national events too.
Yeah, I think you see most of a lot of the boat tournaments too. You'll see the people's cell phone videos or whatever it is. There's only a handful of people there for the boat tournaments.
Yeah, so it's there isn't much we can do to really enforce that action. You know what I mean?
I think at the Yakabas, you still have at least 20, 30 people there. So it's still a decent.
I think, there's always people socializing. Like I was even there after McClure. I just didn't see the sign out sheet.
Right.
And I was there socializing, and I'm there to kind of see who won, see what I was there till the hot dogs were taken away. We were talking about
we were sitting at the table.
We were talking about how the fishing was,
Yeah.
and I'm always down to come by and talk to you guys about how you guys caught them versus how I caught them, and etc. What we could have done differently. I just think there's a more effective way to promote socializing other than a sign out checkout sheet.
Right. And I mean, some of these events, it's so hot. I mean, Maloney's was miserable hot too,
Yeah.
So how do you, it's hard to force that. But I can tell you, like, I've only fished one bass, and that was Possum Kingdom. And it was indoors. We had it, the awards was indoors, and there was probably 40 anglers there. And I think we had 112 that fished it. So, I mean, it is what it is. People are people, and they're going to leave. They're going to prioritize hey, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I'm hot, and I had a terrible day. I'm going home.
Seems like the two, I don't know what it is. I guess maybe it's all the prizes or what. And this is like kind of a one-off tournament. Is the No Limit tournament? Yeah. Each year, everybody sticks around for those.
Yep.
Yeah. So what is it? What is it that the No Limit tournament is doing compared to Yak?
I think it's just the prizes for each hour, and I think there's more raffle awards. And I know that's not really sustainable for a.
I wonder if there's something that Yakabas can do to promote that kind of socializing after.
I think you're asking for too much. They already do a lot for.
The other side of that is those No Limit tournaments. Look at the anglers that fish them. We show up, the Yakabas crew or the normal crowd that fishes, the big trails. We show up and you look around, you're like, wow, I don't know half these people.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And those people stay.
Yeah.
That might be their one big tournament that they fish a year.
Oh, you're talking about the No Limit?
They're probably taking time off work and stuff like that.
Yep. Now, I can tell you the food allergy tournament, everybody stayed.
Yeah. No, that's a great event too.
But they also had the
prizes, the
prizes,
raffle. Yep. Yeah.
I wonder if there can be something like a raffle for everyone to stay,
You'd have to have the buy-in from sponsorships. And I don't see a lot of the trails out here getting the real sponsorships for the tournaments. Like if you look at Vinny Fieri that does Queen City Kayak Anglers back east, his is huge. He has guaranteed prize. It don't matter. I don't know what it is now since I've moved away from the Carolinas, but he used to have a thing where it didn't matter if you had 3 people show up. He had a guaranteed, I want to say it was either $1,200 or $1,500 payout for first because he had sponsor money that got thrown in there. I mean, if you have that buy-in from the different companies, local, it could be non-endemic. I mean, heck, we had. I don't know what tournament.
Pua says musical chairs at awards. Matt, what do you think about that?
That's Pua.
Yeah, that's Pua. Dude,
we
you
like
don't know that's Pua?
No, I didn't know that.
That's his new fishing page. We like them long.
All right, James Snyder and I are going to end the beef because, wait a minute, there's prizes every hour. Oh, wait, we have that already for 2024 thanks to Josh.
Well, like I said, Josh Bryan has come on board with the Yakabas to try and pull sponsors, and he's done a fantastic job of turning that around. That took something off of James's plate, so James can concentrate on other things, like the Gambler Series for some of us.
Cool. I see it improving, Don. What's up, man? It's improving, bro.
So come out and fish the Gambler with us next year. You got big money?
No, man.
Oh,
I'm back to being a wedding photographer and videographer. So anybody getting married,
that's what he's talking about.
If I get more weddings, then I get more time to fish. Maybe.
You need more sponsors.
You'll do it. You do at least like 1 or 2 events, right?
1 or 2 events, maybe for the gambling series. It depends how many I have to fish in order to get into the TOC.
Who said anything about a TOC?
Is there no TOC for the band?
There is.
For the Gambler Series?
Yeah.
When is that going to come out? The Gambler Series details.
I think there's already.
What do you mean? It's already out.
I think
it's already out.
Yeah, schedule's already out.
Yeah,
for Gambler Series.
That's what we were talking about.
Let's review it.
Yeah, see if you can find it.
Come on, James. Let's put it up. I don't have a computer in front of me.
I'm gonna have to bring
James.
James
6
on
events. Was it 6
squash our.
Yeah, I think it's 6 events. That includes the TOC. I think it's 5 regular season and the TOC.
So, Matthew, you're gonna beat these guys at the Clear Lake event for Slay Nation or what?
I don't know.
Wait, so what am I searching
Matthew
for?
and cast over his line.
Is it on Instagram or where can I find this?
It should be on the Yakabas page. You should be able to go to the Yakabas Facebook page and search Gambler, and it should come up because I think he posted all the information there.
Can someone post it up for me?
I don't know. Oh, well, heck, I know my phone's right there. It's on my phone.
Okay, why don't you tell? Oh wait, you're using your phone.
Yeah.
Though, huh?
Did you see the weights for the new gen over there this past weekend?
I was up there Friday when all the guys were pre-fishing, and I talked to Newt for a little bit. But yeah, 20. What was it? One guy had 28.8 on day one.
Yeah, there was like a 5 pound difference, like 24 or something like that.
Yeah, it fell to like 24, and then man, from second to
like 30th, there's like 20 pounds,
22 pounds.
Yeah.
And then day two, the weights fell off a little bit on day two, but they still sacked them. I mean, if you fish a tournament up there right now, you're going to have probably 26 to 27 pounds to win.
Yeah.
So sure. I know BBT's got their team TOC is up there this weekend. I got a buddy fishing that.
I don't see the
That
schedule.
being said, where are you launching, Matt?
In Clear Lake.
Is it open launch for you guys?
I don't know. I'm waiting on Frank to send out some details.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I thought
it's too big for us to not.
I thought they said Lakeport at the beginning of the year.
It changed a couple times. Originally, it was an open launch. Then Dave changed it to first day was going to be launch at Lakeport. Second day was open, and then it went to an open launch, I believe. I don't know what it is.
All right, man. Did you went up north or did you win down south?
Yep, sure did. So, if you want the honest truth, that tournament or any tournament up there right now can be won
up
on
north.
any part of that lake. It can. 100% can be won on any part of that lake. You can go up there and junk fish. You can take 7 rods or 9 rods and catch fish on every one of them, no matter what lure you're throwing.
Do you guys, hey, Max, Don, do you guys feel it is fair for Matt to fish off his bass boat for pre-fishing?
If it's not a rule, if there's not like Bass has a rule against it.
God damn it, guys. You guys need to be on my side.
So, well, how about
I don't
this?
think it matters.
Are you going to fishing on your bass boat?
I have not fished up there in the bass boat since I qualified. I did not know that open tournament. I talked to you, Don. I didn't know the open tournament was a qualifier. I know back in the day it was a qualifier, and then some people didn't like it, and so they talked to Dave, and Dave changed it to where the opens weren't qualifiers. So halfway through the day, when I was fishing Saturday, Pua texted me. I was like, "Hey, I guess I'll see you at Clear Lake." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Oh, you're gonna, if you win, you qualify." And I was like, "No." And I ended up texting Frank.
I think no. I think that was okay with us, but what wasn't okay is people that were non-members just had to pay more to get into the TOC.
Was there a holdback from the tournaments throughout the season?
What do you mean a holdback for the tournament?
Like from each of the series, each of the tournaments in the series, did they take X amount of dollars from each entry fee and put it towards the TOC?
I don't know.
So if they did that, then I could see that. Yes, I could see a non-member having to pay whatever like you as an angler, if you fished all the Slay Nation tournaments and then took $5 from each of your event and put it towards the TOC, then I could see me having to pay an extra, whatever it is, $30 or $40 to enter. Sure. If there was no holdback, I don't understand why there would be a higher entry fee for a non-member. I mean, I'll pay it. I don't care.
Yeah. So they allowed anybody in the TOC they allowed anybody to attend the TOC without any qualifications. So there was no qualifications to get into the TOC. You just had to pay more than the members that already qualified.
Gotcha. That was like the whole
that was the problem.
The event on Friday too, right? There was like an open event before.
Right. Originally there was an open at Clear Lake. And then that got kind of screwy too, because the last I saw before it went away was that the open on the Friday before the tournament was a single point launch at Lakeport, and then the TOC you could launch anywhere you wanted. And I was like, wait, what? That doesn't make sense either.
Yeah.
And the only reason I say that is because a single point launch on Clear Lake, because Clear Lake is such a wide lake, you know, it's not like Maloney's where you have arms and fingers and that type of stuff. It's such a wide open lake. If you had 100 anglers launch at any ramp on Clear Lake, you're all fishing on top of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way to get away. I mean, you're either going left or right from the ramp.
I wonder if there's going to be running permits for this event or not.
You know, I don't. So an open launch is always running. Just by the nature of it. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about like when the tube guys used to do the running permits.
Yeah.
Where you could take out. Of course, they do some crazy stuff too. Like if you catch fish at one ramp, you can only go from there to County Park with those fish. Otherwise, if you're going to go to a different ramp, you have to dump them. I never understood that, but
yeah,
that's how they do it.
Yeah, you can't. So once you catch a fish in, let's say Ward's Library Park, you launch out of Brados, you catch one fish, you decide the only place you can pick up that fish and go fish again is at Library
Park. Yeah,
where the Wards is.
I don't get that.
I think it's just moving the fish too much.
Yeah, extra stress on them. But
yeah, but let's just put it this way, like, man, like I think it's over 50% of fish die after being in a live well all day. I think they said that's the statistic. So I'm like, I don't know. I would like to see a live weight, and then release back into the water where that fish lived. Because I think there's rumor. You know, I don't know if you know Dale Zindler. Don knows Dale, but
Dale, yeah.
But a lot of the awards are hosted over at Library Park, so a lot of the fish down south of Clear Lake, they're all dumping it up north. So I don't know if there's a change. Or if something's going on.
They have a release boat, though. I mean, I don't know where they go.
New Gen had a release boat. They had a big pontoon out there.
Yeah.
I wonder how they release their fish. You know,
I think they just go out to the middle of the lake and do it.
I can tell you, boat tournaments that are held out of Redbud, everyone I've ever fished, we have to at least go to Bass Alley before we can turn a fish loose.
How far is that?
Mile.
Yeah, not very far.
Oh, not very far.
Still get you out into the middle of the arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I wonder if
there's plenty of studies where they do those trackers on fish, and
They'll
fish
move
can swim.
miles.
Oh yeah, they swim a couple miles overnight.
Yeah. All right, guys. So, what are your guys' plans for 2024? Any traveling with the new Bassmaster series? That came out. It looks like they have some delicious lakes. They have Possum Kingdom and Cattle Lake on there. What were you saying, Max?
Maybe Possum Kingdom, maybe Caddo, and maybe Murray. Maybe.
Really?
Maybe.
Man.
Wait, you're fishing 3 tournaments from the Bassmaster series?
Maybe. I didn't say I was fishing it. I said maybe I was going to fish it. There's a big difference between maybe and I am going to fish it.
That's still pretty damn good maybe, though.
Getting everybody's hopes up, huh?
I know Pua said Caddo, Possum, and Gunnersville.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So
driving out there, huh?
Yeah, it depends mainly on the first event. If I do fish the first event, if I do well enough, then, probably go pretty hard at it. If not, then lay back off the gas and just go to Yakka Bass.
What Matthew excuse me, what's that tournament? The Possum Kingdom. Sorry, Matthew. Yep. How far of a drive is that from California?
34 hours, I believe, is what it is.
What? Really?
We did, yeah.
I mean, Cattle Lake is 24, right?
No, it's more than that.
Yeah. Cattle's further than Possum Kingdom.
I thought it's 24 hours.
You know what?
Oh, maybe further for you guys.
Yeah, for us, for sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you guys add on a 7 or 8 hours.
7 hours from me to you.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's 24 hours for me, 30 hours probably for you guys.
Yeah. So you're right. I might have overguessed that because I think it's 30. I think it's 36 to Lake Eufaula in Alabama. So yeah, probably 30 hours from here to Possum Kingdom.
Damn, anything that's past Texas, I don't think I'm willing to drive, man. Like
It's a lot
So,
of
and that's what I was going to say. Like with Max, with you saying something about Murray,
Yeah.
obviously I want to fish as many as I can. I mean, I can't from the West Coast because of the distance. But the only thing with fishing 3 is you got to have 4 to do Angler of the Year this year.
Oh wow.
So
Oh,
is it worth going all the way to Murray if you're not going to fish a 4th, or is it better to just hand pick like dream lakes that you want to go fish?
Well, Possum Kingdom is second, so that's why I threw Murray in as a
Yeah.
possible go. If I don't go Murray, then I'll fish Possum Kingdom and then see where that leads, and then I'll fish all 4. Gunnersville included with
Possum
everything
Kingdom's
else.
fun.
Yeah.
So if you win
sounds fun.
one, can you can still get into the Bassmaster event or the classic,
top
right?
5. Top
Okay.
5 from each event qualify, and then
Okay, so-
top 50 in points.
So basically, for us, we would just be going to get a top 5 spot.
And I took 6th at Possum Kingdom.
Oh, if you would have figured them out the day before, you would have got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, because I put up 106 inches on day 2.
Yeah.
So I only needed, I think, an inch. I think an inch would have got me into 5th.
Wow.
damn.
That's too close, man.
Wait, did
Yeah.
Christine Fisher hop on top of you?
Yeah, at the end, she came over. So she had fished.
No, I mean, like, did she get in the top 5?
No, she was.
Oh, okay.
She was maybe
12th,
11th,
10th,
11th,
11th.
12th.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I think she was the last paying spot. She had a huge comeback on day 2.
Okay. So Max is fishing at minimum 1 event from Bassmaster, right, Max? At least 1.
We said maybe. The key word.
I
here
want to
is
see you.
maybe.
I want to see you go to at least 1. You know what I mean? If you can.
Yeah,
There's so
the
much
goal is
fun.
to try to
Finances.
get to Possum Kingdom. That's the goal, is to get to PK.
Yeah.
So.
Don, are you doing? What's your 2024 plans?
Oh,
man?
I don't know. I think that would be cool to go to Possum Kingdom. I saw the schedule and I thought maybe that's doable. But
More the merrier, dude.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm committed to do a full season of tournaments. Probably do 1 or 2 next year. I don't know. I don't know what I'm
Cherry
gonna do.
picker.
Yeah,
Cherry picker.
yeah.
Just like Matthew Brandon, cherry picker. Like
No,
I want to.
did a full season of Yakabas.
Yeah.
Right?
I want to produce a show, just like 1 versus 1, of like the best guys at that certain lake, like Don versus Matthew Brandon, 1 versus 1 television show.
Don's beat me
Or-
twice on Clear Lake.
Yeah,
we already
so
did
I'm like,
the 1 versus 1 over for ABA.
you guys are
Fest.
pretty much tied, right? Or no?
No, he's beat me twice up there.
He's beating you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beat me in
Well-
food allergy and beat me in ABA last year.
Well,
Oh,
I
shoot.
technically I kind of beat you on the last day of the West was it no the Chris Laird tournament, right? And the
He's
KBF.
trying to get some more,
Well,
record on you, Matt.
the last, but I had a horrible day too. But the day 3, I launched at the same place he did.
Yeah.
And then I started fishing my ABA spot, and then Matthew came up, started fishing my spot too.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
guess
shoot,
I
on
left.
ABA?
And, well, so the spot I was fishing for ABA,
Yeah.
he was fishing for that day at for the 3rd day for West Coast Championships, Chris Laird and KBS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't fish the KBF side, but yeah, for the Chris Laird and West Coast.
Yeah. So I actually left my spot, and then I guess apparently Matthew fished the spot that I fished for ABA. It's not my spot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Matthew, I guess fished that all day, right? You said.
Yep.
Yeah.
Matt,
What,
you got a lot of bridesmaid spots, huh? Like a lot of second, third, fourths this year.
Yeah. I think I've had 2 finishes outside the top 10 this year.
I think that's pretty damn good. I mean, would you guys take 1 or 2 dubs or like all like 80% top 5s?
I would take
What would you take?
I don't know. It could be if you take 85 or 80% top 5s or whatever, you could be disappointed because you hadn't won yet.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The 1 win is, I mean, that's basically my boat, right? But,
I think I've cashed 7 checks this year.
Yeah.
Damn.
But I
That's
think
damn
only I won the Slay Nation. I think that's it. I don't think I won a Yak Bass this year.
I
But,
want to.
you know.
I want to see that battle though. Like like it would have been cool if you did the sandbagger tournament.
Or yeah, I
Me?
guess I won the Sandbagger with Yak Bass, so I did
Yeah.
win that one.
Oh yeah.
It would have been cool if Don participated in that one. Then it was either.
You know, it's kind of
Man.
funny though. It's like I for the food. I'm not tooting my own horn or anything like that, but just the 96 inches. I think I would have gotten what was like 5th or 6th in the sandbagger tournament. And I only
Yeah,
fished
but
what,
that
it
was
like 8 hours.
that was only 8 hours though. Yeah.
yeah.
So who knows what you would have done with the sandbagger?
I don't know.
Well,
Who-
on that
who would-
same token, though, I fished 8 hours Saturday morning in the Sandbagger and only put 2 fish on the board.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, you got to find that the magical spot, you know.
Who would you want to see Max go against? Like a top stick at what
Pua.
lake? Max
Tulloch.
versus
No one.
Pua?
Yeah.
Tulloch?
No one.
How about Damien and Max at Eastman?
That's what I'm saying.
No.
I want to see that.
No,
Yeah.
he
I
already
wanna
wrecked me.
I want to see Max versus Damien at Eastman.
Yeah.
That would be a good one right there.
No, I can't compete against Damien.
Fucking
There's
Max
no-
would be like 2 hours. Like there's 2 hours left of fishing. He'd be on the launch ramp making a sandwich, bologna sandwich on his truck, calling it a day.
No, I wouldn't want to compete against Damien.
I need a rematch with
Nah.
Matt
Yeah.
over at Lopez Lake.
How about at Clear Lake?
Yeah.
Nah,
2 weeks.
you guys are sandbaggers, man. Both of you guys are
I don't
locals.
sandbag.
You guys are locals over at Clear Lake. Both of you guys, not
Mhm.
locals, but you guys fishing.
I would say I'm pretty local.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matthew's more local than I am.
Yeah, but what's going on? Dom versus Matt. What's the hype, man? Like, why aren't you getting it done, Matt?
I don't know.
No.
It's not my
No.
time. Dom's
But
a better angler.
No way. You know, there's something to be said because I don't think I finished in the. I think I was just outside the money for Folsom, and that was like my best event for Yak Bass this year. So, you know, for Matthew, I think there's something to be said. But you said you only finished out of the top 10 once or something like that.
Twice this year and twice
Yeah.
last year.
So Matthew's got it on me.
Yeah, Matt's consistent, man.
Yeah.
Matt's consistent. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. And then he always comes in like in a random TOC based on some certain rules.
come on.
He's like, oh yeah, let's just sneak in. Let's just sneak
I didn't even know it
in.
was a qualifier.
You snuck into Yakabass last year too. You snuck into Yakabass.
I did
and then
sneak
you
into
snuck into
Yakabass
the
last
ABA.
year. I pulled a technicality on that one. I fished the Chris Laird, and that was a Yakabass tournament. So when they opened it to anybody who had fished a Yakabass tournament, I got in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right,
I'm
let's-
hoping. I'm
Dom's just sore because of the ABA thing.
yeah. I'm hoping that I think they're doing roll downs for Yak Bass. I think I'm 15 out of
I think
the.
so.
I'm 15 out, so I don't know.
And
We'll
I think James put up the gambler schedule. I saw he put up a link to something.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
What does this say? Off limits at clear for Matt starting right now. Be nice, Matty B.
You know, like I said though, we could probably do no pre-fish on that. The lake is fishing that good. Anybody could win that
really?
easily at any
Like
part of that lake.
quantities?
Yeah,
Quantity.
I'm telling you, man. I got my buddy Greg was up there. He's pre-fishing last weekend for the BBT tournament this weekend at TOC, and just junk fishing, running around the lake. He hadn't been up there in a couple months. He was putting up 22, 23 pounds a day.
Dan, yeah, but we have two bass boat TOCs coming in consecutive
mean anything.
weeks.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything at all.
You got New Gen and you got that other tournament coming
Because
in.
I mean,
New Gen's
honestly,
over though.
there hasn't
Oh,
been
is
a
it?
whole lot of tournaments at Clear Lake the whole year.
So-
It just doesn't matter. The fish,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
the Clear Lake has bounced back in such a way. I mean, my average fish is like 3 3/4 to 4 pounds right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, you know when second place Colton, he had a 16-inch fish to cull, and I
Yep.
thought for sure he was going to get it because honestly, You can any fish you catch is going to be nearly 18 inches at a Clear Lake.
Yeah, absolutely, and probably weigh 4 pounds. I mean, they're so fat and so thick.
Yeah,
and you like them long.
Somebody does.
All right, Matt. Let's finish it up. What's your 2024 goals, or what are you fishing next year?
Whatever my wife will let me.
Good answer.
Dude, she's been pretty lenient this year. She's allowed.
She's been out of town a lot this year, though. That's what happened. That's why I was fishing. I fished Friday afternoon, Saturday at the sleigh, and then Monday all day because she was gone. But still waiting on Hobie to release their schedule too. Still got those tournaments, or hope for those tournaments.
Yeah,
they tend to go to Oklahoma and Arkansas, so those are close enough for us to reach. Would I like to fish PK again?
Yeah,
absolutely. That place is phenomenal.
You have Max and Don, so I looked for your travel partners right there.
Cato or Caddo, however you want to say it.
Man.
I've never been to Caddo. Lived in Louisiana for 4 years. Never went to Caddo.
You would love Caddo, bro.
Yeah. I've fished Lake Fork. I fished Sam Rayburn and Toledo Bend, but never been to Caddo.
I think all of you guys would like that lake.
How far?
Go ahead.
I was going to ask, how far is Possum Kingdom from Austin? Is it or closer to Dallas?
Closer to Dallas. It's just outside of Dallas Fort Worth.
Got it. Okay.
I think it was an hour to Dallas Fort Worth. But Caddo is just like Santee Cooper at home. It's cypress trees and hydrilla, shallow water, snags, alligators, and snakes, and getting lost in swamp mazes.
Maybe Possum Kingdom's a little better.
Possum Kingdom. So Christine Fisher said something to me before we went last year, and she told me, she goes, Possum Kingdom is probably the closest that you will get to a California lake style lake in Texas.
How many lakes has she fished in California?
I don't know that she's ever been out here, but it's what I mean is
I think
it's got shallow grass, it's got
deeper,
standing timber, it's deeper, a lot of rock, clear water. It's not a typical southern lake where it is all like chock full of grass mats and mud and tannic water. That's not what it is. It looks like, I guess maybe a Tulloch style where you can find some grass, but it's more rock and deep water.
And some bluff walls, right?
Yep. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. They got a place called the Cliffs, and that's all it is. I mean, it's straight vertical walls. I mean, I caught my fish in 27 feet that final day.
Hey, Max, do we go over time? Do you need to do your...
he needs his me time.
You need your me time?
I just want to interrupt the conversation.
Did you say me time or meat time? I don't know what you were saying.
there wasn't a T at the end.
What were you going to interrupt, Max?
Oh, no, I just don't want to interrupt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's just some background noise I didn't want to get on the pod. So you guys are fine. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for hopping on, and peace. No, I'm just kidding. What were you saying? What were you going to say,
Don? What's your plan for Clear Lake?
Oh, what's my plan? Is just hit up all the Don Rocci. I beat Matthew Brandon spots. Wherever Don went, I'm gonna go follow that same exact trail because according to that trail, he beat Matthew like 2 or 3 to 0 right now.
I was fishing a Tasmua jig, so that's all you need.
Well, we had 38 people at Sandbagger tournament, and I never saw another angler.
Wait,
it's probably gonna be the same thing.
2 days of fishing, I never saw another angler during the Sandbagger tournament.
That's what you want.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's fun.
I mean, I'm just gonna throw reaction, but if they're not eating reaction, dude, I gotta do what I do, and that's pretty.
I tried to get Pua. I tried to get Pua to go with me to Clear Lake recently, and I was going to take him where I went for the Sandbagger, and he backed out on me.
Oh, really?
Well, chatterbait too, right? Chatterbait is the lure up there. That's what the guys won on the new gen tournament.
I didn't see what they won on. I know. So, how much I want to say.
Oh,
so obviously Ish Monroe won 50. He won with 26 pounds each day on a spinnerbait.
Okay. Yeah, I heard the spinnerbait too.
If you talk to Alex Tran right now, he's going to tell you to deep crank on rock.
Yeah. If you talk to me, it's jig on beaches.
Jig on beach, yeah. Because I know where you went for your 96 inches.
Oh, you told him?
I was there.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I didn't tell him specifically. Maybe I did.
Yeah, you did.
God
Okay.
damn it!
But he knows where I
Don.
went.
But
That
I mean,
was
that's
my
what I'm
whole
saying.
plan, bro. That was
I could
my
tell
whole
you
plan.
exactly what I threw in the sandbagger tournament, and I could not take any of those with me and still catch 100 inches.
Yeah.
The lake is fishing that good right now on any technique you want to try.
Yeah. There's
Have
no
you tried-
secrets
Have you
on
tried
Clear Lake with
A-Rig
Matthew
yet?
Bennett.
I haven't.
You haven't tried.
I do know
A-Rig yet?
somebody who's thrown it up there and caught fish, though.
Oh,
You know, I know people were catching them on LVs.
Yeah.
That'll be tied on
You can always
LV
catch 'em on an
500,
LV.
chatterbait, jig, drop
Exactly.
shot.
Yep. If you want to play that game, I'll have a Texas rig, I'll have a punch rig, I'll have a frog, I'll have a spinnerbait, a chatterbait, an LV,
Yeah,
a big
all
swim
of
bait.
A spoon.
That's 7 of my 10 rods that I'm taking. So
yeah, whatever. You're gonna
See,
get
Clear Lake,
smoked.
man.
You're gonna
already
get
getting
smoked, Matthew Brad. I
Probably
already
so.
called you out, bro.
Probably so.
You know that meme with all the math problems? That's Dom right now.
All you guys are getting smoked. All right?
I can tell you
Calling all
that
you
my
guys out.
fish that I've been on have gotten beat up insanely over the last 2 weeks, and I still caught 25 pounds there Friday.
Why are you putting in live wells? I saw that photo.
Yeah.
You put them in the live well.
I did.
It was nighttime, so that's better.
It wasn't.
Oh, it wasn't.
Uh-uh. We fished
Wait,
from
you
2.
just got
Well,
done at
we
night?
fished from 2:30 to 9:30. So I guess we were there after dark, but it wasn't a night trip because I got home at 12:30 that night and left here at 2:30 to go to the Delta for the sleigh tournament.
Jesus.
We were supposed to fish overnight because I wasn't fishing a sleigh tournament unless a decent number of people signed up. And at like 9 o'clock, I pulled up my phone and I told Travis, I was like, "Hey man, we're going to have to pack it up." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "There's 17 people signed up for the sleigh, so I'm headed to Delta in the morning." And so I signed up, and that's where we went.
I don't even know what I was about to say. Shoot, man. Oh, are you gonna bring your bass boat to pre-fish like the day before the tournament?
I haven't decided. I don't know if Amanda's coming up, and if she comes up, I'd probably leave the bass boat for her to run around in while we're out chasing tournament stuff. We'll see.
Well, you should invite all of us on your bass boat.
Yeah. There's a dock at the house. I could leave it at the dock.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Hey Don, Matt's gonna be there, and Amanda's gonna be there. Come through.
Fish on his boat.
Yeah, I'll give up my bed for you, man. I'll take my cot. I got a cot.
No,
so
I'm
it's
not
pretty
fishing
good.
the tournament, so it's I don't.
You and Amanda can hop on the bass boat and just go everywhere and just cut off.
Take
Matt
pictures, fly
all
the
day.
drones.
Yeah, fly the
That'd be cool.
drone, take pictures. There you go.
But for them to be able to do that, I'd have to tell them where I was going.
Yeah.
Well, you will know where I'm at, Don. So you can come by my spot, take photos.
I can see Amanda now. She's gonna be on the Find My iPhone.
Oh,
She's over there.
That's smart. All right, man. Well, I think that's it for the podcast. Maybe we'll have a post Clear Lake podcast with all of you guys, and then I'll bring on Pua as well to
Nice.
close out the year. That would be fun.
Since he's going to be the winner.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna smoke
I can pass
Pua,
it
man. His name's gonna be like we like him short and stubby.
Max, you fished Clear Lake before?
I did once 13 years ago.
Okay.
Oh, man.
So basically
your
your
winner right
first
there.
time. Yeah.
So basically first time. And that's the entire goal, is to fish it for the first time fresh, basically.
And Max knows
I
how
will
to
be
catch big
practicing
fish.
though.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right,
I'll
I'm
be
gonna end
fish
this
Max
podcast.
is.
Right.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in. For those that did come onto the podcast and chatted all night long, thanks again. Appreciate it. Appreciate your support. This will hit the Spotify probably in a week and a half or so. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna go ahead and end the live stream and then talk with the boys about how they're gonna help me win.